Hello everybody and welcome to the semi-final Deliberation. So I just have one little disclaimer before we start. Unfortunately, we lost most of Sam's recording due to technical issues. It got corrupted or something, so you're gonna hear us responding to him, but you're not gonna hear him for the most part. So if you think it sounds weird, it's probably because we were responding to him. Really sorry about that, but I hope you will enjoy it anyway. I really recommend that you listen to Deliberation Part 2 because it's gonna be more entertaining than ever, and because Sam's recording was fine there. So without further ado, let's start. First things first, Andrea has already volunteered to skip voting this time.
Yes, I have.
So it's all down to Mark, you and me this time.
So nobody, I just want everybody to hear this. Nobody can blame me.
Yes,
just
we're
so
gonna blame you for...
Nobody can blame me, I'm not voting.
for not helping this out. Okay, is everyone ready to post their votes?
Not yet. I'm ready. Yeah. I'm ready.
And you too, Andrew. Yeah, okay.
I'm ready, yeah, even though it doesn't count.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Ooh, okay.
Oh.
Mark, I'm gonna kill you. What is that? Yeah.
Mark.
No.
I knew it. Mark, all the freaking time.
He always... Why, Mark? Why are you always the difficult one?
This is why we have 3 judges.
So that you could just go
Yeah, I feel that too.
I can see from your vote why you might say that.
Yeah. I really need to start with Heather then, cause I don't know why you didn't hear what I heard, but I had chills up my spine and tears in my eyes, I'm not even kidding. It was so emotional, I didn't even know she had this in her. This sounds like years and years of experience to me. I was first pretty taken aback that she chose the Susan Boyle version, because I chose the Charlotte Martin version for her. It is a bit more rough and it has more runs and such, but even though this was more in a straight tone, it still worked amazingly. And there was a subtle dynamics in this. It was so intelligent. She actually reminded me of my favorite Swedish artist, Sonja Aldén. Because instead of going from hard to soft in those long notes, she's going from soft to hard. So I found that pretty intelligent. Then she has such an airy voice. So she created a nice ambient sound. And she had good breathing technique in this as well. And at some point I heard that amazing rough tone that she's had in her previous songs. So everything just comes together in this piece to me. This will really be a moment to remember for me. And she's had such a journey too. In the beginning of the competition, she didn't really know what she was doing because she was not really memorable, and then she was trying to be powerful but she wasn't solid at all, and now she has such a mature tone and she is solid now finally, and this actually gave me a stronger emotional response than anything I've heard in this competition so far. So Mark, can you please explain to me, because I don't understand. I wouldn't condone either of them. I mean, okay, yes, it was kind of repetitive, but still... But no, in a way no, because like I said, she had subtle dynamics in this, so it was still varied to me, and just the emotion of it carries it, so I don't really care about that.
So you've got subtle dynamics, I've got clumsy dynamics.
Clumsy.
I mean, first of all, it starts off very mumbly, there's no real articulation whatsoever, and then in terms of the dynamics, it's spiky, and not good spiky. It's, hey, I forgot to put any compression on my entry kind of spiky. And I mean, look, from the song choices that were in there, what we're seeing from Heather over the last couple of entries is a soul and a kind of jazzy quality that she's really trying to bring out. And there was a song choice in there that would have been perfect for her to have really run with that, and instead she goes for Wild Horses, which is a little bit predictable. And then, I mean, look, it's one of those where, okay, done well, this is one of those songs where you sit back and you close your eyes and you feel chills and it's beautiful. But I am getting stabbed constantly by the fact that the dynamics are off, when suddenly it's like, oh, okay, now it's really loud, and then it's back to something soft, and then it's really loud again, and then it's back to something soft. It's like the flow of it is completely broken up.
It's a really hard thing to argue about emotion, because if you don't feel anything, I can just say, you gotta feel this. But I mean, I'm feeling a lot with this performance, like I said. And And okay, maybe I'm a little bit biased this round because 4 of the 5 contestants chose my songs, but only 3 of the 5 chose the recommended songs. So like I'm completely fine with the song choices this round except for like one, but we'll get to that. So I don't think this song choice was the issue this time, but then again I'm completely disagreeing. I don't think there really was any issues in this apart from like one flat note in the beginning, but I don't really need to be that nitpicky. It's hard to argue about emotion. So Andrea, what did you think about Heather?
Well, I'm kind of like Switzerland. I'm in that neutral territory where I half agree with Sam and Mark, and I half agree with you. I actually really enjoyed the performance. I really did. I felt the emotions, and I liked how she built up to the chorus. But nitpicky wise, I did hear a few runs that could have been a little bit tighter. They were kind of a little sloppy. But I mean, that's like really nitpicky, which we have to be at this point. But for me, I actually enjoyed the performance more than I think they did. I actually found more positives. Like I said, I like it. Yeah, I mean, okay, it's maybe a predictable song, but at least it was a predictable song. To me, she did well. Minus a few nitpicky kind of sloppy runs and maybe one or two notes that kind of went a little bit sour. I thought that it had a lot, like I said, emotion. I thought it had a lot of dynamics. I enjoyed it. I thought it was light. It was airy. It just fit her voice really well. And so I'm kind of like I said, I'm Switzerland. I can see what they're saying. I can see what you're saying. I'm just sitting here like, yeah, I enjoyed it. So
yeah, I mean,
I don't have to vote, so you know, I can like it. I can just like it.
I actually wished you had voted instead of Mark here. Oh, damn it. I actually think this sounded like a finale performance. Some of the performances in this round sounded like finale performance to me, and this was one of them. This is actually my favorite Judge's Choice show ever.
Yeah, because all your songs got picked.
No, not just because of that. But yeah, I mean, I got strong emotional responses from at least 2 of these. So, okay, I don't really know how to argue this because yours is more emotion-based. You didn't feel the emotion, I felt the emotion. So what is there really to say? Maybe we'll get back to that later when we have the final order here. Let's go to the next one. Sam, do you want to pick the next one? I actually agree with that.
Yeah, but he was like, he's gonna throw down.
Well, that's what I've got in my notes as well. It's like, it's a Friday night, everyone's been on the beers, you're in the karaoke bar, and then someone steps up that's got some singing talent, and then that's Scott's entry.
You know what's really sad is that Sam is basically Mark 2.0.
Oh.
I mean.
But no, according to his votes, he's not.
Well, yeah, I mean, according to his votes, but they both have that.
I almost agree with his votes, so.
Yeah, I agree with some of that, yeah. Actually, I think we're the closest.
I think it's fair to put him down for song choice this round because this was actually not one of his recommended songs. This was one of the wildcard songs. I didn't even think of him when I picked that, so that was kind of interesting that he took that risk, which chose to go outside of that. I don't know if it was a risk worth taking, but I think he had really explosive energy in this, and I was actually happy while I was listening to it. He had a great dirty tone in this. It was like this old-time rock singer. So this was actually more what I wanted for the rock round than what he gave us. But still, he gave such great power, and he did have better control of that falsetto that he gave a few seconds in the beginning.
Yeah.
But still, again, this was not chosen for him. I personally wanted him to sing Hoobastank the Reason because I think he needs that emotion in his singing. Because I haven't really been emotionally connected to any of his performances. And this was a bit pitchy too, and it feels strained at times. And some notes sounded more shouted than sung, but still I can really feel how much he wants to win this competition in this song. And now I actually really want to thank Mark for fighting about him in the qualification stage. I mean, I always saw his potential, but I kind of lost faith in him there. Both Andrea and I actually voted him out in both rounds because we didn't feel like he was ready. But now I can say it was worth saving him because he has brought some really great stuff in this competition still. I still think he could have been more ready in the future because he needs to train out that strain in his voice and become more solid. And I know when singing these kinds of songs, it's really easy to become too excited so that you push too hard. And to be honest, the more I listen to this, the less I like it. But this song is more about the energy than anything else, and in that regard, he really brought it.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was entertaining, and I think his voice definitely sounded better than I liked it in the previous round. Like, I think if he would have picked this song for the rock round, maybe I would have voted him higher than I did in that episode. But I've been saying since the very first episode that he needs to learn to pull back and then build up and then punch it without doing too much, because he always comes on way too hot from the very beginning. He has nowhere else to go, and so he starts to strain and he starts to just sound like he's more screaming than actually singing because he's trying to build more power, but he started off too strong as it was, and that's been a very consistent issue that I've had with almost every single one of his entries. I think there's only one where I didn't complain about that. So that's where I was. I found it more entertaining. I found it better than the previous round vocally, but I just think he came in too hot, and it just, I don't know, it was just too much, too fast, too soon. So I don't know.
So Mark, you seem to have the strongest opinion about him here.
Yeah, and for me, I think it's time for him to maybe give it, well, sort of drop out. Mainly because my reason for fighting for him so much in the beginning is because of versatility. Like, you guys picked up on his rock qualities, but he was bringing something a little bit different to the other rounds that maybe didn't suit that. He gets 2 opportunities to rock out, and then he goes for something that's super over the top and showy when he could have, as Andrew's been saying for so long, pulled back on it a bit, taken it easy, and then given us 2 better performances than he has the last 2 times out.
Yeah.
But what was your specific problem with this cover?
That it's energy and that's about it. I mean, going back to my karaoke example, if you've got someone that sounds cruise shippy or karaoke, then it's just a little bit amateurish for what we're trying to get. And in comparison to the other covers that we've seen this time out, it didn't feel semi-final performance. It just felt like singing in a bar kind of performance.
Okay, then I'm really interested in your opinion on Trinity. Because how in the world, how was that so much more of a semi-final performance than Scott's, and like even more than, okay, why is she your top performance?
Purely on how, I mean, if we look back over the voting, maybe this isn't true, but I like to think I've been fairly consistent in what I look for, and it tends to be glaring technical issues like timing and pitch first. Second, I'll look at how well the cover was delivered. Third, energy, and then 4, things like tone and how it sounds. And then for me, out of what I was listening to, and trust me, I've listened a lot, and I hoped that I was wrong in this, but in terms of delivering the best version of the original, this was kind of it for me. So I mean, it's a safe song choice in terms of vocal range, but that was going to happen when you pick one within 24 hours because you've been ill. We picked some tracks that would have maybe brought Trinity out of her shell into some other areas, but it didn't happen because of illness and whatever. Yeah, fair enough, that kind of goes. And while it wasn't technically perfect in all areas, in terms of taking the original and then elevating it somewhere else, I think it did the best job of the lot, because I happen to rank that quite highly when I come to doing my scoring. That's where it wound up. I'm sure you guys have your own little priorities that you look at, and that's why we end up getting some oddities in the scoring sometimes.
Okay, I'm actually starting to wonder if it's due to that she picked the one song that you chose, or that was the only one that you chose that was chosen by them.
Absolutely not, because I didn't pick it for her.
No, but you picked the song. I mean, song choice isn't everything. I mean, it is a really big part, and I think she actually failed in that. And yes, given she is sick this round, and I could hear that in her voice.
Yeah.
But I don't think this is a good song choice for a competition, actually, because it's way too easy. It doesn't allow you to bring anything impressive to the table, and she was quite nasal in this, and there was almost no dynamics and not much of range either. But the one good thing I can say is that no matter how pitchy pitchy or how many other problems she has always plenty of energy and emotion, and I always feel something when she sings. And I love that head voice in the end. So that was more of the dynamic trinity that I love, but I cannot reconcile how she got top performance in comparison to Heather and Nathaniel and everyone else. I mean, first of all, this wasn't a great song for her, and granted she was sick, so she didn't really have that many options, but still we cannot favorize her because of that. Silence. Am I making sense?
I mean, you're making sense. It's just, I don't, like I said, I've always been a huge fan of Trinity, especially now that she's back, and I thought she greatly improved. And I think she did fairly good in this song in its own way, but there were sour notes. And of course, there was a lot of nasality due to her not feeling well. It's not the song I would have picked, you know, song choice wise for her. I think she made it work as best as she could, but this is the semifinals, and as best as I can might not always be good enough.
Yeah, and if any of the others picked this song, I'm sure they would have nailed it too, because it's not really a difficult song, so...
Yeah, and that's the thing, I mean... But like I said, there was a lot of sour notes, and really, she's really heady. I mean, you can hear it. And I hate to hold that against her, but it is the semifinals, and would it be fair to knock somebody else out who maybe was a lot better this particular round just because she was sick and we feel bad that she was sick? And would she have done that much better without the headiness? I don't know. And at this point, when we're so close to the finale, it's not a risk I would want to take at that point.
No, and considering how low she has been in the rounds before.
Yeah, she's been kind of hanging on by a thread. I mean, we saved her with a star once.
I mean, yes, I feel bad that she's sick, and I'm sure she would have done so much better with one of the songs that we actually recommended to her. But I think
she would have done great with Queen. I really do.
Yeah, possibly. But I don't think it's fair to compare this easy song compared to the others that showed way much dynamics and power and everything. And while they still were... Okay, Mark, thank you. You did the final order. Yeah, anyway, so... Oh, no, okay. Where were I? I lost my train of... Because I got so distracted. No. Hey, okay, thankfully this is a majority vote, so it doesn't really matter what is here, because we can always change it. I'm talking to you, Sam. No, okay, let's discuss these 5 and then we can discuss the final order in the end, but I have some cases here I'm thinking about. Does anyone else have anything on Trinity? I think the whininess was due to her being sick though. She hasn't really been whiny before. Okay. Yeah. No. And that's... Oh, no. Yeah. Okay, now I can see what you're saying, Andrea, that he's like Mark 2.0. How do you feel about that, Mark?
There is nothing wrong with that. Someone's got to do it. Can't come out and pull punches, can you? Especially not this late on.
Maybe that's why the song got picked for Gabriel, because he has more of a nasal voice. So yeah, Mark picked that for Gabriel, actually. Are we done with Trinity for now?
Yeah.
For now. We're gonna get back to her, I promise.
I really, really enjoyed Nathaniel's. To me, he had a very Josh Groban quality to his voice.
Oh, yes.
And that's a compliment because I love Josh Groban.
Yeah, Josh is my favorite artist right now. I love him.
And I enjoyed this so much. I mean, there were a few notes that could be cleaned up, but emotionally, it was really good emotionally. There was some good dynamics in it. And I just really loved that feeling of it was his own, but yet there was still a little Josh Groban quality to it. And I don't know. I mean, I really loved this.
Yeah, I mean, when I first heard this, I almost screamed because his voice is perfect for ballads. He has such a romantic tone and amazing vibrato, and he was so dynamic. I was a bit worried that this was going to be too hard for him when I picked this, but he did it almost exactly like I had dreamed. One reason that I love Eurovision songs is because they are literally designed for competitions, and I think he really showed why they are. I mean, I love that ending. When he lifted his voice, he made it his own in a way. And except a few flat spots and timing issues, I really love this. Those are just some minor issues to me. But that's still quite worrying for the finale to me if he makes it there, because those issues could really go back to haunt him. But I know that he kind of rushed this because he was going away and not trip again, so I guess it's a Trinity situation here. Because this is actually the first time that he has had pitch issues, and this is not the time to start to have those.
Yeah.
Diedrich is also quite pitchy when he sings this live, but I don't think that's really an excuse here because this is not live. So, but it's very easy to sing off pitch in this power ballads because it's a lot of sustain and like you have to be really technically proficient when you sing this.
Yeah.
And I just like a little bit more reverb on the vocals for this song, but that's just a personal preference. But still, now he has one power ballad under his belt, and that's what I always wanted. So I'm really happy with this. Overall, this is one of my favorite performances in the entire show, actually. But if he makes it to the finale, then maybe he needs to pick something more emotional and powerful to really get that emotional connection. Because this is powerful, but it doesn't really make me cry. I chose the song, and it was for a reason. But that's just something I got to think about now that I heard Heather's performance, because that was my first performance, and I didn't really expect that when I got into this round. So emotion really matters, to me at least.
I got the emotion out of this one. This one was my favorite.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolute favorite of the episode.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I mean like a sad song that you really cry for. It had plenty of emotion. Don't get me wrong here.
Yeah, like I said, it's very Josh Groban to me, and I'm a big Josh Groban fan, so
Yay.
I think maybe that's why I was so immediately attracted to the way he sang the song.
Yeah, I always knew he had this in him, because he has this really showy voice like Josh Groban has, with that great vibrato and power and that depth in his voice. So this was like a dream.
And then there's Mark.
And then there's Mark.
Well, you want to throw it to me to be critical just for the hell of it?
Well, you're the one who seems to not quite agree with us.
Yeah, okay.
Well, he did put him at the same position as me, so...
Yeah, I mean, but, you both suck because I think he should have been first place, but okay.
Absolutely not. I mean, right.
Come on.
So when I heard this the first time, I hadn't heard the original, which is rare for me. I normally know the song or listen to it beforehand, and it felt a bit gutless, to be honest. And then I listened to the original, and it's like, oh, right, okay, he's just stayed true to this then. Because they're both lacking this sort of... the singers that take on this kind of track, I'm thinking the likes of Alfie Boe or Bublé maybe as a couple. They've got this sort of bottom end warmth to their voice, which just adds this extra dimension, and that's what I'm looking for. That's what would have taken the song to the next level, and I can't pick up on that too much because he's just stayed true to the original, but this was a real opportunity for someone to take it and make it bigger than it was, and he hasn't done that. And if we're talking about, there's some flat spots and some pitch issues in it as well, then okay, that's not adding up to a first place performance to me in the slightest.
Yeah, that's why I didn't give him top performance, because it wasn't perfect, because I thought Heather was close to perfect. But
but at the same time, Mark thought Trinity was perfect for the first place. So do we really want to listen to his opinions on it?
No, we don't.
I'm just kidding, Mark. I love ya.
I think Nathaniel had more of a bottom thickness than the original singer, actually. What? What am I supposed to say?
Come on, Sam.
Wow.
What was the word? Hey, help me.
I think this will be ending up in the bloopers.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, he had more of a bass voice than the original singer because he was more of a tenor. So that's why I was kind of worried about this song choice. But I think he did bring some of that bottom thickness. But granted, it wasn't perfect. So yeah, he maybe needed a bit more that he has brought in the past. So I can kind of see what you're saying there, but then kind of not because you placed Trinity above him. So
based mainly off of execution of a cover.
Okay, so song choice doesn't matter then.
Oh, it does.
So why was Trinity's a good song choice for her? For a competition, even.
Well, that's part of the issue. It wasn't picked for her. It was a novelty song picked for, with no disrespect, a novelty singer. And then she's come in last minute like, oh no, I need to pick something last minute. That'll be easy. Nice one. But if I go and, like, if a big thing for me is elevating a cover and it's taking something that's quite simple and adding to it, then it's going to get a thumbs up in my book. Whether that's right or not, well, that's why we get multiple judges in. It's not just one person picking these things.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to have at least 2 people who are right and 1 person who's wrong, so.
Yeah. Maybe we shouldn't have kept those wildcard songs and such.
No, because you know what? In the end, it falls on them to do what's best for them as what they feel is best for them. And then they just have to throw caution to the wind and take whatever comes. Like if they pick a song that ends up not working for them, well, you know what? We gave them suggestions and they made their bed and now they got to lie in it. So.
Yeah, that's true. Who haven't we talked about? Oh, Kelsey.
Yeah. Kelsey.
So who wants to talk about Kelsey?
Mark, you go for it.
I wish that the original didn't exist, because if the original didn't exist, I would listen to it and thought, oh yeah, that's a really lovely song, that's a good cover, but it is missing so much. It's like, right, okay, I'm going to throw a one-dimensional head voice at this, and that's it. The original version has so many extra layers to this, and that's why it works. And I was gutted to see this in the list, actually, because if someone picked it, it was gonna be hell for them. No. And that's exactly what's happened. It's tough. You know, sometimes songs are super complex, even if they don't seem like it. And if you don't have all of those bits in it, it just sounds very flat. It's kind of, from a guitar standpoint, the playing of Jimi Hendrix. He's got so many ghost notes in there and little nuances that made him the world-renowned player that he was, that if you try and just think, oh, okay, yeah, I'll play that, no problem. Why do I sound nothing like Jimmy? That's because you're missing about 4 dimensions, and this covers exactly that. She's got a beautiful tone, and it was pretty well delivered, but it's just not a good, compared to the original, it's just so far short.
Keep in mind that she was really sick. You can actually hear that in her voice. Yeah, so that's...
Change your song choice.
No, it wasn't song choice. I mean, if she were healthy, then I think she would have done amazing, because she has those qualities in her voice. She could have brought more dynamics in this, and she could... Yeah, I think the problem was that she was sick, because, yeah, like I said, she had such an airy voice, and it was pitchy at times, and no dynamics. I really wanted to love this, because I picked this song for her. This was actually the first song that I picked, or the easiest song to pick for me, because I knew she would have done amazing if she were healthy. But
I thought Trinity was the one who was sick.
Kelsey was also sick.
Oh, I didn't know she was sick too.
Didn't you see that in the email?
No, I didn't really. I just clicked on the audio and I didn't really read the email.
Yeah, but still
I just wanted to listen to the song.
Yeah, but you could still hear that in her voice, so I don't think you can really pin this on song choice, because the only reason that she stayed in that head voice was because of her sickness. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to argue about that now that we don't know how she would have sounded had she been healthy, but I don't think she would have stayed in that head voice, because she has brought dynamics in the past and a varied tone.
You can still nuance it. You can still do bits.
Like what?
A bit of movement, just a bit of movement, a bit of something.
Exactly. There wasn't, because that's one thing that I said was, I wish there was more of a wow moment, like a big build up, but it never seemed to quite get there. There was just no, like Mark said, there was no real movement to there was no, I felt emotion, I did feel emotion, but it was kind of stagnant emotion, it was all kind of one emotion throughout. It just needed some kind of a build up, and I was anticipating it, and the build-up never came, and it just kind of, I don't know, then it started to kind of fall flat.
But when you barely have a voice, what can you really do? I mean, okay, I can also hear some emotion in this, and the weak voice actually contributed to that a bit, because it created more of a sad vibe. But this song should really pour emotion, so I expected much better from her. I expected to cry from this.
See, I think if you're sick, like if you're not feeling well, you have to pick a song that that's gonna have a wow moment that can fit into how you're feeling at that moment.
Yeah, when I get sick, I can sing really deep.
Стоит над корою Алёша в Болгарии
So I love that. I always sing deep when I'm sick.
Yeah, I just think if she would have picked one of the other songs that were available and tried to find a way, like tried to find a song that was going to have a lot of dynamics and emotion, but it was also not going to hurt her voice so that she could show her voice without overtaxing it. If she were sick, it might have come off better. But with a song like this, I was just expecting a buildup that never came, and that kind of led to disappointment.
Yeah,
That's just how and I didn't know she was sick. So, I mean, maybe that would have swayed how I felt about it, because I was just a little disappointed with the lack of a build-up and the lack of movement and how no wow factor ever actually showed up in the song. And I didn't know she was sick, so...
I actually completely agree with you on that it was disappointing, but I disagree with the reason that it was disappointing. I think it was like 80% her sickness. Because how much dynamics can you really give when you are that sore in your throat? And you have to really... You can't really push that hard when your voice is that way. So I don't think it's really fair to put her down because of that.
Well, I don't know, because isn't Kelsey the one where several different episodes I always said that I didn't feel the emotion and I felt it was kind of empty, and then one episode I finally felt that emotion and I finally felt the dynamic, now I'm starting to sound like you, the dynamics. I finally, so she's had the issue in the past of not connecting emotionally with some of the people, listening to her songs. So I just cannot, based on my previous, the way I previously judged her, I don't think I could put it solely on how she's feeling, because I think it was Kelsey that I've had issues when it comes to emotional connectivity before.
But I think it was only one time.
No, I think it's more I think it was a couple times.
Okay, because...
I'll have to go back and look, but I know that I've made that complaint before.
Because I have always said how much life she has in her song. She always has emotion.
Oh yeah, I know. You've always liked it, but I know we've complained about it.
Yeah, okay.
We've argued about it. You've like, said that, I don't agree with you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I don't care because I'm right.
No. I mean, it was only one time that I didn't feel the emotion. Even this time I can hear some emotion, but it wasn't the great emotion that I know she could have brought with more dynamics and stuff that she could have brought if she weren't
tough.
sick.
I mean, we're the semifinals. We're coming into the finals now, and unfortunately, it sucks to be sick during the semifinals, but at that point, there's nothing, you can't just say, well, you know what, I know that they could do better because, if they were healthy, so I'm going to push them over somebody who maybe already gave us an award-winning performance.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. Like I said, I feel bad losing anybody at this point because I think they're all very talented and I've grown to like all of them as artists, but somebody's got to go.
But one thing I loved about this was her vibrato, and I can hear that soul in her voice that Aria talked about when she was guest judging, actually. But yeah, you need that dynamics to really be drawn into the performance, and especially in the bridge, because that is the big part of the song. But I know that if she wasn't sick, she would have been fighting for one of those top spots, because her tone is perfect for this song, in my opinion.
You shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah, but if you look at my votes, I actually placed her lower than all of you, so I agree with your points. I just don't agree with the reason behind them.
And you know what? There's no guarantees in life. I mean, we could say if she was healthy, I guarantee that she would have done so much better. We can't guarantee that because we don't know, So, like I said, I can't take her being sick too much into consideration because we're at the end, and I wouldn't be able to risk putting her through above someone else if, she's, I don't know. Like I said, it's a sad situation all the way around. I don't want to lose anybody, but at this point, people go. So people go.
Yeah, and I don't want to lose her like this. It's sad. No.
I don't want to lose anybody. So I'm glad I'm not voting because it just makes my life so much easier.
Yeah, okay. No, we may never know how she would have sounded unless she records that afterwards, but I think she would have been way more likely to sing this the way I imagine it when I picked this, because like I said, this was the easiest pick for me. So I think this was a great song choice for her. She just couldn't deliver it this time. We're gonna talk about the final order too.
Well, guys, this is the end of the deliberations. I have to pee so bad right now. I am just going to say goodbye from all of us, and we will see you when we talk about who gets in and who doesn't. Bye. There you go.
Really?
Done.
I gotta pee.
Idea, petition, cut down the deliberation to just Andrea saying, I have to pee so bad, and drop that as the deliberation video.
Oh God, I'm peeing. Oh God, I'm peeing. I'm peeing.
I legit really have to pee though, guys. I am going to literally wet myself if I don't go. So I'm going to stop recording and you guys have fun.
Yeah. Okay.
right.
Thank you guys
Bye,
so
guys.
much. Bye.
Thanks for listening. See you soon with the result. All credits are in the description. Don't forget to rate, comment, share, and subscribe.